as the Eagles coach. Now, there's been a story for the last 3 or 4 or 5 weeks that basically whoever they hired would be a puppet, that Jeffrey Lurie, the owner, and Howie Roseman have control. The coach is not going to have much of a say. So that told us, we talked about this, they were not going to get like a, they weren't going to get somebody that had a lot of offers. They weren't going to get Josh McDaniels with the Patriots would rather stay in New England than take that job, right? Now, I'm going to show you the press conference, and I will say this. It's not everything, but it's something. Kevin Stefanski, great presser. McVay, great presser. Andy Reid in Kansas City. Kyle Shanahan, great presser. Adam Gase bombed. Jim Tomsula bombed. Ben McAdoo looked like he was wearing his son's suit. It's something. And it's easier now because it's a Zoom call. You're not even standing in front of the Wolves and the Philadelphia media. You're just looking at a screen. And this is what it was like. It wasn't good.
The first part of being smart is knowing what to do. We're gonna have systems in place that are easier to learn. All right, complicated to the defense or offense that they're going against, or the special teams group they're going against, but easy for us to learn. Because when we can when we can learn our system and we can get good at our system, then our talent can take over. Less thinking equals talent take over, but we need to have systems in place, and we will have systems in place to do so.
That's not great. That is not great. There is a reason presidents usually read off the teleprompter, and why CEOs and founders often practice their speech before they talk to the hordes of employees. It ain't everything, but first impressions matter. He was nervous. He was anxious. He was completely over his skis. Listen, I was shocked by the number of people on Twitter that said, I don't understand. Oh, does that mean anything? Folks, I'll speak for guys. First 8 minutes, don't trip over the stairs. It matters. It's not everything. Maybe you've got a funny line and you can overcome being a klutz. You go for a job interview. You don't want to sweat in front of the guy. Again, this is a guy that just looked petrified, staring at a computer. Imagine walking into a room with 50 alpha males. You're going to lose half of them. A lot about sports, because let's be honest, none of us really like to be managed. Most of us don't like to be coached. But we buy in if we believe in you. That is really, really hard to believe in. I thought it was a great year for candidates. I thought it was mostly a terrible year of hires. Peter Schrager's our information man. Man, stuff is happening. Hey, listen, Goff got traded Saturday. Deshaun Watson could be in New England in 45 minutes. We don't know. Schrager's next. Finding great candidates to hire can be like trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some board, disappears into the ether. Listen, or you can find the right person quickly. And right now, the smartest way to hire, and it's free, is ZipRecruiter.com/herd. They do the work for you. You post a job on ZipRecruiter. With one click, it gets sent out to over 100 top job sites. Then their matching technology finds people with the right skills and experience for your job and actively invites them to apply. In fact, ZipRecruiter is so effective, 4 to 5 employers who post on there get a quality candidate through the ZipRecruiter site within the first day. ZipRecruiter.com/HERD. It is free, it's effective, and it's the smartest way to hire. ZipRecruiter. Guys care about stuff like this, but I want to thank the people at Fox Sports and Fox Sports Radio. Joy and I won National Sports Talk Show of the Year. It matters a lot to us because it was voted on by 50-plus executives. And I want to thank the team here that helps us every day. Joy's remarkable, so is Goulet. And the support systems we have across the board are unbelievable. You know what? The bottom line is you need help in life. You can't live on an island, do it yourself. And we have Joy has been an unbelievable teammate, the best I've ever had. And thank you. You're amazing. And
thank you, Colin.
You make the show easy. And, oh, by the way, before I get to Schrager, because Schrager, you better not forget Valentine's for his beautiful wife. Tommy John's Valentine's Day's coming up. There's do's and don'ts. Do look like a champ in the new Tommy John underwear. Get $20 off site-wide at TommyJohn.com/herd. Check out the site for details, HERD. All right, Schrager, Fox Sports NFL reporter. What a crazy weekend. What a nutty weekend. So let's start with this. 10 days ago, 5 days ago, people are like, yeah, you'll never get rid of that Goff contract. Okay, that's over. So how did it go down, Stafford and Goff?
Let's start in Cabo San Lucas, of all places here, Colin. Sean McVay watched the NFC and AFC championship games from Cabo San Lucas at a high-end resort. That's where he was hanging out when all of a sudden the phone starts lighting up and action starts happening. And Sean McVay actually did his business from a villa in Cabo this whole week. He's actually flying back right now as we speak. That's where all this went down. It just shows you how bizarre this season has been. And really, McVay and Goff, it had come to an end. There was nowhere else they could really go unless they started from bare bottom and said, we have to rebuild this thing. And when Stafford made it known to Detroit that he wanted to be available, McVay went to their front office and said, can we at least inquire? Can we see what's going on? And they had a connection. And the connection between Stafford and McVay is one of those deals where it's like, relationships are everything. So Sean McVay was a high school quarterback. His main rival was a young man named Chad Hall, who was a high school quarterback at the rival school. Two of them became great friends. They go on their careers. Chad Hall goes to the Air Force Academy, plays a couple of years in the NFL, and is now the coach of the wide receivers for the Buffalo Bills. Just so happens, Chad Hall and Sean McVay are still very good friends. Chad Hall's sister is Kelly Stafford, who used to be known as Kelly Hall. So these guys have rolled in the same circles for a long time, and Stafford and McVay have had a great appreciation for each other. McVay said, let's call it up. Let's see what happened. Just so happens Brad Holmes, who's now the GM of the Detroit Lions, was part of the front office with the Rams who drafted Jared Goff, feels very affectionately for Jared Goff, and they wanted to make sure that this did not end in Detroit for Matt Stafford like it ended for Calvin Johnson or Barry Sanders or so many other disgruntled Lions on the way out. And they said, where does Stafford want to go? Stafford made his voice heard. He believed Los Angeles with McVay would be a great connection. So everybody in this deal seems to come out okay. The only question is Jared Goff happy from going from sunny Los Angeles to now playing in Detroit in a rebuilding situation? He says he's excited to be wanted. He wants to be loved. He will be loved in Detroit by that front office and that coaching staff. But McVay, Stafford, both teams seem to be very happy this morning.
You know, I'm going to give you my theory on it. Is there's a lot of moments in the year where Goff was over it, but that November 29th game against the 49ers, and that's his rival Kyle Shanahan, and that's their rival, the 49ers, and Nick Mullins beats them, and Goff has fumble issues and pick issues. And after the game, McVay criticized Goff, and we'd never heard that. And I kind of feel like Schrags, it just never got better. It was irreparable. That game, it's one thing to lose to the Niners and Garoppolo, but at home to Nick Mullins, and I just thought, if you went back and looked at the quotes, and I did this morning, it just never, it even went public. I mean, you tell me, did it happen week 5, week 8? Was there a moment, an epiphany?
I think it was a culmination of things. And this isn't fair to Jared Goff. Jared Goff beat the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle with 9 fingers and a broken thumb and played valiantly in that game, and then completed 21 of 26 against the Packers in Lambeau and nearly beat Aaron Rodgers. So what one person's perspective is different from another's. To McVay, this is a significant upgrade. I don't think he and Jared Goff had anything left to do, and McVay moved on from him. And once Sean McVay turned on Goff, that was it.
Yeah.
And it was, now he was in aggressive mode. So the game, the pinball, I don't know, but the fact that they had to rely on their defense and play conservative football, knowing the way that Sean McVay calls a game and wants to call a game, and there was no vertical passing, and there were so many turnovers even with that, I think that was the main reason. But let it be known, around the league, Colin, people like Jared Goff. And there were suitors to the Rams who were calling about Jared Goff because he's a 25-year-old quarterback who's been to the Super Bowl, who, by the way, has beaten Russell Wilson in his building in the playoffs and Drew Brees in his building in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And he is no slouch. There is a market for Jared Goff, and the Lions, from everything I heard from the Lions side, because I spoke to their side also. It's not just McVay feeding me stuff. I spoke to the Lions side. Jared Goff was a key piece to this deal. They believe in Jared Goff, and at least for the 2 years they got him under contract, he's going to be the guy.
What does this trade mean for Deshaun Watson in Houston?
Yeah, it's funny because everyone immediately says, who's next and what do we do with Watson? I think it's very unrelated. Matt Stafford was a 33-year-old quarterback who had gotten to the end of the line with Detroit and was looking for another home. Deshaun Watson is a transcendental, or is that even a word? I don't know, a transcendent talent, a top 5 quarterback in this league. And whereas Detroit was looking to make things right with Matt Stafford and end that thing on a good note and send him on his way so they can start their rebuild, I am told from very good sources, Houston has no interest in trading Deshaun Watson. So when Deshaun Watson said he requests a trade, it might have to get a little uglier than that for Deshaun Watson to get out of there. He might have to refuse to ever wear that uniform again for that to start happening. Once he makes that comment, it both A, limits Houston's leverage a little bit on this thing, but B, it also will start the floodgates. Trust me, every team has called